expecting. Number one, we do think he's the best back in the league. And then number two, we expect him to continue to develop and grow and get stronger, increase his stamina, increase his knowledge of what we need him to do. They always say the more you know, a lot of times the game slows down for him. So I think for Tevin, being his third year in this offense, I really expect his game just to slow down and you can let him see how blitzes develop and your zone steps and your zone running game, seeing how the offensive line, how he can play off their blocks. I really think that it's time for him now, being his third year, to really separate himself and become a elite back in this country.
How are things different, the preparation of the games, now that you know who you're for? How much better is that preparation?
Yeah, it clears things up. Where I think before we were always had a little bit of a Nate package, always had a little bit of a Trey package, or some things that maybe Trey doesn't really know, or vice versa. But yeah, it certainly helps knowing that here's what we're doing, this is our direction, and now we need to find the best plays to attack that.
And how have you seen him approach things differently?
I've seen a little bit of a change. I would say more than anything else, just in the leadership role, that this is my team now, this is my offense now, and it's clear cut. There's no question about it. And I think really he's taking the bull by the horns. I think he's ready for our responsibility.
How is he different right after that? When he had freshman event this weekend, he came in. How's he a different dude now than he was, when he walked in here as a freshman?
He's more knowledgeable with not only our offense, but just with what the defense is going to do and who to look at in defense. A lot of times when you're a young quarterback, you're really just concerned about what I'm doing, catching the snap and handing the ball off. Well, you forget about the other 11 guys on the other side of the formation. And now I think that really, again, the game has slowed down. I think that he's able to see a defense and know which way the pressure's coming from and where to distribute the ball accordingly.
How have you seen Shane change with Kofi and Cody gone? I mean, how much more of a leader is he trying to be, and how has he done transitioning to the outside from the slot?
You know what? I think that the change in Shane Wynn has been greater than any player that I've seen in my 4 years here going into his senior year. There's just a different sense of urgency about him. There's a different maturity level about him that I've never seen before. A lot of times as a coach, when we hear our players take our message and say it themselves, say it in the locker room, that's when you know you have a special player and a special kid. And Shane Wynn has totally taken Coach Wilson's message straight into the locker room, and he's demanding everything that Coach Wilson's saying. He's taking it into the locker room and demanding it from his teammates. So for us as coaches, that's a great feeling to know that you have the locker room behind our head coach.
How do you see that group kind of shaking out? I mean, obviously it's a young, kind of unproven group other than Shane at the top. How do you see that kind of shaking out? And what guys, freshmen, have kind of impressed you so far?
You know what? I'm not ready to say any names to single anyone out just because we haven't practiced yet. We've had some summer workouts. I really think we've recruited very well. I think we have really 4 talented freshman wide receivers. But when I think about that position, I sort of think back to my first year here when we were playing Shane Wynn as a freshman and Cody Latimer, Nick Stoner as a freshman. I had a lot of young kids then that really didn't know what they were doing. Well, aside from Shane, Stoner, and Isaiah Roundtree, I have 11 other guys who really don't know what they're doing because they've never played in the game. So to me, it's very exciting. It's very refreshing to know that I can step on the field and take these guys from square one and build them up, just like I did 3 years ago with Shane, Cody, and those young guys.
And I know you were just asked this, King,
Sure.
in terms of Tevin, and then the other running backs.
Well, I really don't know that I want to get into assessing each guy individually, just because we haven't stepped on the practice field yet. I do know we feel great about Tevin Coleman and what he can bring to our offense, and just his maturity now going into year 3. But behind him, there's some serious competition. And once again, it's almost like in the receiver room where maybe some of those guys aren't as proven as much from a game experience. But man, what we've seen the younger running backs do in the weight room, on the field this summer, running, getting themselves in a great shape, we're extremely excited about what we have. And the competition that those young 4 or 5 running backs are going to have this fall camp will be awesome.
How much of a role would Tevin have in the receiving?
I don't know that it'll be any different than what it has been the last couple of years.
How important is Colin Rares in what you guys do?
next to the quarterback, he's probably number 2. And you know, you look at the guys who touch the football in every single play, and obviously he does that for us. So, you know, in a shotgun offense like we run, if we don't execute just the snap, then everything else is out of whack. You know, we can't really play. So he's critical. He's been doing it for three and a half years now. He knows the offense. He knows the calls. He understands the tempo. So we're expecting big things from him, and he's very important to what we're trying to do.
How much has he changed? You know, from walk on to one of the main guys on the team.
I would say a lot like Shane Wynn, where I've seen a different Colin Rary just going through this summer now in the preseason camp. That there's just a different leadership aspect from him this year, a different tone in his voice when he talks to other guys. And you know, when you get to this point in your career, you realize the end of the line's coming, and the sense of urgency a lot of times tends to increase. And I've certainly seen that from him.
How much did he develop, especially last year as a leader, with everyone kind of going down around him with injuries?
Right, quite a bit. I mean, I think that he was put in a position where he had to, because there's no one else around him that could do it. And so I think he was forced into that role. And again, he's done everything we've asked him to do, and we're expecting a big year this year.
Is this the best offensive line you think you've had to work with in most time years?
Well, I certainly think it's the biggest, the strongest, the most experienced. You know, I would say those 3 things. They should be the best, but I don't know how that's going to work out. But going into it, our ones and really half of our 2s, those kids have played a lot of football for us. And so we expect to be able to move people. We expect to be able to play physical and protect the quarterback.
What does that mean for you as a coordinator?
Well, it's a great safety net, if you will. It's a great feeling to know that you're going to be able to run the ball. You're going to be able to protect the quarterback. And so again, it goes into it where you're not limiting what plays you're calling. You have to be calling plays right now.
So do you see yourself have more plays this year than maybe before?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we're going to look at. I just think that we're going to have more confidence and be able to execute those plays at a higher level.
Sorry to come over here. Next do you think that the run game becomes bigger with guys like Ted Wilson and Cody Latimer, those guys going?
I think that what Coach Wilson is always going to tell us and what he's always going to mean is that we have a balanced offense. So we have to be able to run when we need to run and throw when we need to throw. So I don't know that we're going to focus on any one area more than another. But when it's time for us to run the ball in third or fourth, then we feel good about having the O-line experience and a great running back.
What have you seen